I'm delighted to say that I am joined by originally the viral cover music on YouTube, going all the way to creating her own empire of original sound, and chef, the mesmerising and captivating singer-songwriter Gabrielle Aplin. How are you?
Hello. I'm good, thanks. I've never been described as a chef before. I would say food enthusiast.
Yeah, as a vegan enthusiast as well in terms of food, you're considered a chef in my mind. That's a tough industry.
Oh, thank you.
So before we get into what's to come, all this talent came from somewhere, and to take us through your humble beginnings, please, and how you went on to be this artist you are today.
That's a big
it's a huge ask.
Well, I started out when I was much younger. I was putting up my songs on YouTube, some covers, but at the same time, I don't know if you know of this, but we have like BBC Introducing, and that was really, really amazing. I'd uploaded my music to that, and they connected me to radio and stages at festivals and stuff, which was really, really, which meant a lot at the time, because it allowed me to kind of forge a career, I guess, as opposed to just being on YouTube. But YouTube and MySpace, I kind of caught the tail end of, and just social media I really utilized, because it meant that I was able to directly communicate to a fan base. And these people were just coming to listen to my songs, and there was a community. And I found that, that's what's really, really wonderful. And that community are still kind of with me and listening to my songs now. So, yeah, very grateful for them. And I've just been tracking along since, basically, making my songs.
A fantastic summary of a wonderful career. Trucking along is definitely one hashtag to use in social media for it. But look, let's talk about the future that is to come, which, of course, is the reason that we're all excited. The new sounds, Phosphorescent, the new album coming out. And I feel like I don't even need to push this, because from track one, from the moment you start it, you can't stop. People personally were trying to get my attention here in the office, and I made them work for it before I pulled down my headset, because I did not want it to stop. So 11 tracks, each different, but with the main core being your voice and your writing. I have 1,000 questions about this, because personally I think it is one of the albums, it has to be one of the top albums of the year that's coming out. I think it's a fantastic overall sound. The production has so much story to it. Can you take us through what it was like?
God, yeah, it was a really interesting time to make an album. And at first I didn't, no one said, oh, now would be a good time to make an album. I was in the middle of that kind of third, very bleak lockdown over winter. And I started writing some songs. And because at that point, I think I was just kind of trying to get through a pandemic. I wasn't, and I just released an album before. So it wasn't like I had an album to make and I had to just make the best, make do with the best I could, So I wrote a lot of songs. They were very isolated and very reflective. And then when it came to deciding that I wanted to record them with Mike Spencer, I wanted to counteract that loneliness. I didn't want it to be a lockdown album as such, just because I wrote it in that time. So in the recording, I wanted to counteract that and be the opposite and be very human and feel like coming together. It was the first time I'd got the bands back in the room after we got sent home from our tour at the start of the pandemic, so it was really special to capture that. And then even instruments, I wanted everything to have a physical space. I wanted it to feel very connected to nature while still having a modernity.
That's beautiful. How did you connect it with nature then?
In many ways. I was up in Mike's studio for a whole year, so it was amazing to see how the album kind of unfolded with seasons, like even seeing like the ducks laying their eggs and the eggs hatching and like all of these things. It was just really felt very connected, and it was just unfolding how it was naturally meant to be. Mike's studio is run mostly on renewable energy, and that wasn't why I chose to work there. But I just think it was really cool that someone cared so much to do that, because he doesn't have to. And I loved that the songs were made from a natural resource of energy. And I thought it'd be really cool to try and get that into every aspect. So it was there in the songs. I wanted it to be there in the visuals. So we used like the sun to print the cyanotypes, which is why they're blue. And awesome. Even down to like the physicals and making sure that I was making them as eco and as environmentally friendly as I possibly could within my means. And what is the best that you can do within your means is different for every artist. But I did the best I could within my means. So
Yeah, I think you did amazing with it, if I'm honest. And how long did this take then? You're saying seasons. So
it took a year to record.
Right.
And then, yeah, and I was writing over lockdown, just kind of collecting up songs. It was a very natural process, and I felt very respected as an artist. I was just kind of left alone to do my thing, and then handed a finished album at the end. I didn't have anyone hounding me or pressuring me, and that was really special.
That's living the dream, all right, for sure. I mean, someone has to be a trailblazer for doing everything organic and doing everything the first way. And I think if this is the result of going that path, I think this is nearly better than traditional ways, if I'm honest. I think it's fantastic. As you were saying, 11 songs, each one kind of different from each one. What is your writing process? Have you a secret? Is there a cheat code that other people can kind of do it? How do you do it?
Well, it's different every time. I mean, the way that this album maybe differs from my previous one, I released an album in January 2020, and it was very, I was all over the place. So I'd go and work in a studio with a producer in one country and then go to another country, and I was collecting songs all over the place. And I was writing them, but then I had to go and learn how to play them. And I felt like that as a singer-songwriter, I thought I would be okay with that, but it actually was really quite jarring.
Right.
So I literally just sit down at an instrument and I'll write and I'll make stuff up as I go along. And then I might have a lyric or something might come. It's very intuitive, and I'll just keep going around things until they form. It's the reason I wanted to do that this time as well was because but even before I'd recorded the songs, I was able to play them. I could play my whole album from start to finish just on my own with an instrument because I'd written it that way. Mm-hmm. And I think, as a singer-songwriter, I think that's a really important thing to be able to do. So that's something I will carry with me in my future projects, For
sure. And I think that's very interesting from an industry standpoint, because a lot of people don't realise how much travel and work and so many different heads can nearly be on in one project. So for you seem to have found what seems to be a preference for you. You seem to like it when it is just more you. You get to do it in your own time. It's your own space. And you get to play it as a musician, whereas like kind of working on parts here and there with so many different people. And so would you kind of recommend that to somebody who is just starting off, or would you say it's good to try both areas?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good to try everything when you're starting out. That's the best time to experiment, I think. I think, what works for me might be the worst thing for another artist, Yeah. So I do think when you're starting out, just try everything. Yeah, definitely. And work out, what you enjoy and what works best for you,
And as you're writing, you're saying that you get in with the band, you play keys, you play guitar. Do you also dabble in other instruments? Like, let's just say if the drummer was doing something, can you kind of communicate like, no, I want it to go ta-ta-ta-ta? How familiar are you around the orchestra of the band?
I mean, I can explain to them what notes I want them to play. Drums, I do not know the technicalities. I can do a few shakers.
Nice.
I can,
Harder than they look. As we were saying, Phosphorescent, 6th of January next year. Mark the calendar and the date. It's going to be a huge one. Cannot wait. And Gabrielle, look, thank you so much for being able to take the time to talk to us. It's been wonderful. You've been fantastic.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Look, happy Christmas, because Dev probably mightn't be talking to you before then. And all the best for the new year, and cannot wait for this album to drop, because honestly, I feel like once people get their hands on this, they won't want to let it go. And for me, it's a flagship. It's a runner for me. I think it's a #1 album of the year. And it's only going to be the start of the year. You're setting such a good bar. But look, thank you so much, Gabrielle. And hopefully, again, we'll be talking soon.
Yeah, thank you.